At the verdict of Ben Habib, the former MEP, Brexiteer chairman of the Great British Political Action Committee. Ben, he's talking a lot of sense, isn't he?
He is talking a lot of sense. But before we get to what he says, I think, we must recognize that this is the Vice President of the United States of America. This isn't someone in the administration. Elon Musk, as valid and as powerful as his views are, is not the Vice President of the United States of America. So when J.D. Vance speaks to Europe and he says, actually, I find your values, the way you're governing yourselves, essentially anti-democratic, anti-free speech, anti-democratic, that is the United States of America calling out the United Kingdom and Europe.
That's essentially the official position of what is meant to be our greatest ally. He did call us a great friends, but he was talking about a backslide from conscience rights, private prayer being something which could be criminal, and his worries about thought crimes and freedom of expression. Do you share those concerns, Ben?
Oh, I completely share them. I'm completely with J.D. Vance in what he said. And of course, we're aware of the non-crime hate incident law/non-law, which was used in order to take Alison Pearson to task. And when you read about NCHIs, they're also used to shut down children at school. Police have gone to schools and tackled students as young as 9 years old for what they've been saying to their fellow students at school. I mean, that's absolutely absurd. And there have been 13,000 such non-crime hate incidents since that non-law was introduced. And of course, we've got the examples of the 70 people during the Southport protests who were incarcerated, not because of rioting, they weren't doing damage, they were other people, but 70 people in prison because of what they said on social media or what they had on placards, what they said to the police, including one individual, Peter Lynch, who sadly hanged himself in prison. And the list of these examples goes on and on and on. And of course, a cornerstone of democracy is free speech. And if you can't have free speech in a society, if you're not allowed to offend each other through the declaration of your views, however awful they might be, then that's the end of democracy.
Well, exactly. And nobody has the right not to be offended. I could say your tie offends me. It doesn't matter.
It's a beautiful tie. You're wrong.
It's a beautiful. As always, Ben, you're quite the close horse. Let me give you a sense of what our viewers and listeners are saying. Claire says, go JD Vance. Andy from Woolwich says, wow, what a breath of fresh air JD Vance is. Fantastic speech. Maybe people will finally wake up. Absolutely brilliant. Sums up what most of us actually think. Another Andy says, great news. This may wake people up. And Justine in Bournemouth, I should say, says, oh, why can't we have common sense in this country? I'm so envious of the American citizens finally having common sense back in their country. J.D. Vance, what a spot-on speech. Great show, says Justine. He talked as well, he also addressed the situation about uncontrolled migration in Europe. Let's see what J.D. Vance was saying about that.
No voter on this continent went to the ballot box to open the floodgates to millions of unvetted immigrants. But you know what they did vote for? In England, they voted for Brexit, and agree or disagree, they voted for it. And more all over Europe, they're voting for political leaders who promise to put an end to out-of-control migration. Now, I happen to agree with a lot of these concerns, but you don't have to agree with me. I just think that people care about their homes, they care about their dreams, they care about their safety and their capacity to provide for themselves and their children. And they're smart.
Again, this is just really straightforward, common sense stuff, isn't it, Ben?
It absolutely is. And, this is the United States of America. Just to go over it very briefly, this is the United States of America telling Europe to get its act together. This is a big schism on the diplomatic stage.
Will they listen, do you think? Will they take J.D. Vance's advice?
I think we have no option but to take his advice. If we want the protection of NATO, if we want America's membership of NATO, and they are the largest contributor by miles because of the size of their armed forces, without them NATO is nothing. How can we open our borders and not protect ourselves? We are literally allowing the assault of Europe while we are looking at America and hoping that they will protect us. It doesn't add up. And actually, if I was the president of the United States of America, and if anyone in the administration is listening, I would say NATO membership doesn't just come with a 5% spend of GDP commitment, but also requires that you enforce your borders, so you deter people from coming in the first place.
Although America, Ben, as you know, America has said that we in the UK and others should up it to 5%. We'll talk about that a little bit later in the show. But America doesn't have 5% of its budget just yet. Although, given how quickly Trump is changing things, maybe that'll be a change he makes.
Yeah, but I mean, I hope he does it. It'll be a very positive influence. If you want one of the greatest combinations of two words that have done so much damage to the security of Western Europe is the peace dividend. Those two words, peace dividend. There's no such thing as the peace dividend. If you want peace, you have to prepare for war. And European armed forces right across the board, including the United Kingdom, are completely hollowed out. On the day that we were allowing Zelensky to fire Storm Shadow missiles into Russian territory, the Labour government was busy cutting our defence budget.
Well, let's talk briefly about Ukraine, Ben, and then I'll let you go. Just final question. What do you think should happen? What should a deal look like? Should there even be talks with Putin?
I think that whenever you conduct foreign policy, you've got to do it through a prism of what is in the interest of your own country. In the case of the United States, they have to do it through what's in their interest. And for the United Kingdom, we've got to do it through what's in our interest. And this blank check approach that we've taken with Zelensky is a fundamental repudiation of the obligation our leaders have to the people of this country. It's another example of where democracy is failing. So whether the right answer is to cede territory to Putin or to have European troops ever present in Ukraine to make sure that another war can't break out, or a combination of all of that, or if we decide that it's in our interest actually to push Russia out of Ukraine, what we've got to do is bring the debate back to what is in the British national interest as far as we're concerned. And I do not subscribe to the theory that it's in our interest to give Zelensky a blank check. So I welcome President Trump refocusing the debate around something that I hope will result in Western European and American interests being put alongside, if not above, frankly, the interests of, what the Ukrainians might want.
Ben, first of all, thank you. That's Ben Habib there. He's a former MEP and Brexiteer. He's chairman of the Great British Political Action Committee.